So due to the new update to Hearts of Iron 4, almost all overhaul mods are incompatible with the game, including Kind-of-Reich, of course. So today we play Kind-of-Reich. This has been an idea I've wanted to do for a while, but it'll be even better in the new By Blood Alone DLC. One of my favorite parts about Kind-of-Reich is restoring the monarchy to the UK as Canada. So today, the UK is set to go down its communist path along with France and Italy now in vanilla, since it has its Italian socialism path, along with other countries to go on various Kind-of-Reich themed paths, like one of the new Soviet paths that was added back last year, No Step Back, etc. with all the other countries. I would play as Canada and do this, but instead I'm going to play as the US and just give Britain as a puppet to Canada. Maybe, I don't know. So everything should be set and we'll go ahead with things. I've also buffed the AI a little bit just to make things more interesting, so it isn't too easy. We'll have to design our navy effectively and be able to design planes, and I think playing as the US gives us a great opportunity to work with some cool new plane designs enabled by the DLC. I especially want to get into rocket technology so we can add some rocket rails to our planes. I think this will be great in allowing our fighters to double as CAS, and who doesn't love heat-seeking missiles being added? But yeah, I'm very excited today to make Canada very overpowered, and I have some interesting ideas for weird ways to maybe do that. We'll have to see. Of course, getting them this territory. But also, before we continue, a quick word from the sponsor of today's video, one that longtime fans of the channel hopefully remember, Age of Origins. It's a tower defense strategy mobile game. In Age of Origins, the player acts as a commander who had just taken control of a city that sits in a ruined world, and with help from assistants and troop, you, the commander, will expand the city and research new technologies to help fend off waves of invasive zombies. While developing your own city, you can seek diplomatic ties and form relationships with other players in the game. Your main goal is creating the most powerful city in this doomsday world. And aside from the usual base building features, Age of Origins allows players to try their hand at tower defense, which is my personal favorite part of the game. There's also a mechanic where you can treat Lucy, who can eventually become an amazing power that lets you control zombie troops. There's also a Titan mechanic with Genshin and Empress, who are two Titans that you can use to take into battle. There's also an interactive map with many locations and crises that take place, forcing you to be careful of enemy invasions. And then, teaming up with other players, you can engage in large competitive worldwide battles, and then maybe later take a break to defend your own base by playing some giant cannon defense. So please make sure to download the game through the link in the description. You'll get to enjoy $60 worth of gifts and go enjoy the game for yourself. Okay, and I misspoke earlier too. I meant the Italian communism path. The socialism path, I believe, is their democratic path, and they'll be going communist, so we'll have communist Italy, France, and UK. I'm very familiar with how France and the UK go communist, but I'm excited to see exactly how it'll function for Italy, like how the war in Ethiopia will go to facilitate it, if it even does go a specific way. I don't know, I haven't really looked too much at the alt history paths for Italy, so that'll be fun. Instead of playing it, though, of course, we're playing the focus tree added years ago for the USA. This might not be the best content strategy, but this is something that I've wanted to do for a very long time, and I'm not gonna wait any longer. And ASA submits to Italian demands, which is the historical thing. They've also appear to be a very powerful nation from what it seems like. They're buffed a little bit too much to where if you're playing as them and you don't submit to those demands, it's pretty easy to not lose to Italy. I would do that path myself, but a lot of people already have. Maybe I'll make a mod that mixes things up a little bit and play as them. We finish our first focus and get political power so we can recruit a silent workhorse. Germany also started their civil war, so they'll be restoring the Kaiser, a very important part of our fake Kind-of-Reich experience here. And Turkey should also be restoring the Ottoman Empire, though it takes them so long to do it that I've set the AI on other playthroughs to it, and I don't think I've ever seen the AI actually restore the Ottoman Empire, so we'll have to see if they actually do that today. Also, a very confusing part of Hearts of Iron 4 is how equipment works for planes and tanks. There's the obvious equipment that exists in the armor and planes panel, but then researching anti-air, artillery, and anti-tank unlocks lots of modules for planes and tanks, so we'll have to make sure to actually keep up on this research too if we want to make cool stuff later on, because I don't really plan on using infantry too much today. Also, as far as I know, the French and UK communist paths are really chill compared to the Kind-of-Reich syndicalists, so I don't really know how justified our invasion will be. The only country they might attack is Russia and Germany and the United States. Never mind. Also, there's a civil war in Ethiopia, so it looks like Italy will have this fascist puppet as they go communist. Also, as the US, you have so much oil, you always want to be exercising your navy in planes, even more so planes now with the new DLC, because you need air experience to make new plane designs. Also, the thing in Ethiopia ended. It looks like Italy was a bit greedy and took some, but not all. I guess this puppet nation only has cores down in the south, so I think they gave the puppet all of its cores. New update, military high command no longer give you army experience, it's only the chief officer here, but they give a lot more now. So it's very important to get these as early as possible, especially when you're playing as a country like the US that doesn't get into a war until later in the game, though we'll be getting into one a bit sooner this time. So our support got really bad. It's better than it was a second ago, but it's important as the US to keep doing this small lobbying effort all the time. The election did not go well in the House. And here's this, the Italian Civil War. The Italian Union versus Mussolini. An amazing council leader. You have to love those. I love the tables. You know it's a good leader portrait when they have a table. So yeah, I wonder what will happen when they win, which hopefully they win, considering I set them to go down that path. But yeah, I should mention too, lots of civil wars going on in Europe. And here's the second Russian civil war, so the entire world's going to be in civil wars at this. We should have done one of our two paths where we go into a civil war, but then that would kind of ruin the point of the entire thing we're doing today. With our best friend Canada, we can't leave them alone in the world. Okay, and the communists didn't win in Italy, which is sad to see. I guess now Italy has a better color, in my opinion, so it's okay. Also, we have enough war support to do the best focus, the giant awakes, and get onto civilian economy, and we can probably go straight onto partial mobilization afterwards. Aw, and this is very cute. Switzerland wants us to invest in them. They're using their new focus tree, I assume. Doesn't really cost us anything to invest in them, and they're probably going to be one of the few other democracies in the world, so it's worth it. Well, I guess all these breakaway Soviet places are democracies for now. Yeah, no Chinese United Front though, so this shouldn't be too difficult for Japan. The UK and France both still have not gone communist, which is unfortunate because we need them to go communist to have an excuse to invade them to save the British monarchy. And Mexico declared on us. My army, it wasn't quite ready yet. I don't think we'll lose in a war to Mexico, hopefully. And yes, since Honduras is united in this struggle with us, we can create a faction with them and begin our democratic liberation faction. Okay, perfect. We got a lot of army experience. We now have a friend in Honduras and Mexico, though a more of a forced friendship there. Anyways, we'll just make our new American carriers. And we can either have batteries specifically focused at attacking ships or dual purpose ones that are better at anti-air. I think we'll go with the regular ones. We have planes. The planes and our anti-airs are anti-air. We don't need the dual purpose thing. Puppet Mexico nationalized their oil. So now we have to embargo our puppets, which is cool now because there is an embargo mechanic in Hoi4, so this event will actually use that mechanic to embargo Mexico. And another civil war in Europe, there was one. The Union of Britain is rising, fighting against the entire Allies faction, which It's quite the undertaking, but I think the UK is the only major, so this won't last very long. Yeah, so Canada is doing their defense board focus, which will make them really want to join our faction. I don't think they'll be able to join until world tension gets high enough, but we're getting pretty close at the very least. Also, this is the longest I've ever seen this Soviet Civil War go on. Yeah, the UK also lost their war, so now the Allies is just weird. And Bulgaria put Ferdinand I in power, but then immediately submitted to Romania. That's a really weird move. Very strange. Canada is very nice in this path, and they guarantee the independence of us, which is wholesome. Doesn't really matter considering how strong we are compared to them, but it's a nice gesture. France also has finally officially went communist after forever. Okay, and now with world tension at 100%, we can invite Canada to our faction, and that begins the operation. Fortunately, Ireland would rather be part of the Allies, which is just a bad idea. But if we declare on the UK, they might join us instead. There are a lot of countries in the Allies, but we probably have 10 times the factories of all those countries combined. Either way, in 125 days, we'll be at war with Britain. I don't know if we can reach them though. Not really. Lots of wars though, as communist Portugal declares war on Spain. Doesn't look like any communist faction is forming. The Soviets somehow are going to win too, so I guess the Comintern could be recreated. Oh, and yes, now Ireland decides they want to join and be protected by America. We just had to improve relations a bit. So yeah, we'll move divisions over there, and now this can be a defensive war instead of having to justify. We'll also move our entire navy over to Ireland, and then Britain, they'll never be able to land divisions on Irish soil. And India had a very brief civil war, but everybody's favorite colonial overlord, Linlith, won. We have our 1943 medium now, so I guess it's about time that we make an even better medium tank. So we're invading directly the communist British capital of Liverpool. I don't know why it's here. I guess this is just where they broke free in that civil war. And this is good. We should secure the British mainland soon so we can move on to some of the larger threats in the world. And once we do this, we'll have satisfied our main goal of, you know, taking the UK and giving it to Canada. Like I said, they weren't exiled for very long, but it's still the same thing. So we took all the islands and their navy, which is another cool new mechanic. These HMS ships, of course, we'll know where they came from easily. And Canada has now liberated Britain. There's Canadian Britain. The monarchy's been restored. Very, very good. The world is in a very weird place, though. We have our faction, then there's the Allies, and the Mutual Assistance Bloc, who are both at war with the German Empire. Oh, and in the end, Mussolini was killed after all. And I love how Canada isn't a major, but Canadian Britain is a major. Our puppets are kind of breaking free, though, but that doesn't really matter. They're just supervised states, and they're in our faction and good democracies anyway. So I'll be sad though when Canadian Britain breaks free from Canada and just becomes Britain again. The Allies were defeated again. The first England was defeated by the communists, and now Germany's defeated more of the Allies. So the Allies are at peace again, and even smaller. There's only 5 of them? 6 of them? Yeah. We will avenge them though. Luckily our tanks are good, so we can kind of just drive around in circles through German territory. And if we can gobble up a lot of the German industry, that'll help. And we've moved into Berlin, though there's still a lot of Germany to take before they capitulate. The capture of the German capital has been confirmed by officials in Washington. We got him. Wilhelm III is now in jail. Yeah, we had to capitulate Italy and Austria-Hungary too, in addition to Germany, so we still have a long ways to go. Though we have our secret weapon too, in case. Portuguese Spain wants to join the Empire of Democracy. So they're gonna break free from Portugal and join us. This is the weirdest event I've ever got. It's the worst thing ever, but I'll accept them, sure. Why not? Anarchist uprising in the Spanish Civil War. Yeah. There might be some bugs in this version of Hoi4. Actually, this was kind of a miracle too, because now we have a port in the Mediterranean. Okay, let's hope that Italy has a civil war. I really want an Italian democratic puppet. Though since they're already non-aligned, I don't know exactly if that will happen. Bulgaria, though, they're the real hero here. They've been holding on forever against the entire massive Central Powers, and Italy now left the Central Powers to join the Covenant of the Mediterranean. United States is deposed. Okay, so now there's another non-aligned Italy that's our puppet at war with the non-aligned Italy that was originally Germany's puppet, but is now a democracy that's Turkey's puppet. Portugal, Bulgaria's faction capitulated, and we now own Spain, but nobody has cores on this Spanish territory now. Republican Spain has cores on the parts of Spain that it owns, but it's the Spain that we own, nobody has cores on it, so I can't, like, give it to Republican Spain because they just don't have cores on this. Nobody has cores on this. I don't know, that's weird. Also, the Soviets joined the Central Powers, so we're gonna have to go after them now too. So in the German Empire's territory in North Africa, we have these Dutch divisions from the heavens inside enemy territory. They just appeared from nowhere, and they're just randomly attacking German divisions from German territory. Wow, the Dutch, they're very powerful. I underestimated them. I didn't think they would be that good of an ally, considering they've lost to the Dutch East Indies. Oh, by the way, yes, we're at war with everybody. We are very, very, cool and have lots of carriers that we aren't even using. Oh, and finally, France capitulated. It's been a while. This is the weirdest thing ever. The peace deal, it didn't really turn out that well. I have American France at least, but then there's normal France. Okay, and this is probably the coolest thing I've ever done, but while I have a puppet state, American France, I'm going to invite normal France into the faction. So now we have normal France and American France in the faction. This is my dream come true. And if things weren't already somewhat done, we've now encircled all of Poland. Well, most of Poland. Okay, we finally got the Italy-Turkey peace deal. After a long time, we've owned, well, not owned, I mean, we've had our puppet state Italy for quite a while now. I guess we'll also set up a puppet state in Turkey. American Italy decided to change colors, but it's fine. It just kind of messes with the aesthetic, but I'll get over it. Oh my god, the Central Powers capitulated. We did everything. No one else did anything compared to us, except like Japan a little bit. I guess we give territory back to France. We make a German puppet. We make a Polish puppet, a Yugoslavian puppet, Russian puppet too, to continue the Russian Civil War, but with a democratic Russia. And I'm giving mainland France to American France, but I'll gladly give France this German territory they fought so valiantly for. Anyways, that's all for today. The borders are terrible, but it's not my fault, okay? Especially the Spain thing. There's no cores. But yes, I'll see you all next time.